Hi, I'm Pieter Bijl, Head of R&D at North Windsurfing. I'm here to run you through some tuning cues on the FreeFoil. The FreeFoil is actually quite an interesting product because we've designed it for optimal use on the foil, meaning super easy takeoff, really stable flight and actually quite good performance on the foil. The really cool thing is once you run out of the wind range on the foil, you can put the sail on the fin and you can extend the wind range by another 8 to 10 knots. So the tuning for the fin and for the foil is slightly different, so I'll run you through that, as well as through some simple setup things on the sail. So the shaping concept on the sail is relatively closely related to the free speed, which is the fin version of the sail. However, the transition in the shaping is a bit more radical. We have a really deep bottom to deliver plenty of power to get you on the foil nice and early. But then above the boom, it right away moves into a very forward-oriented profile with quite a lot of release in the back. So you see that there's quite a bit of excess material right here. And that is to open this batten so that once you're actually flying on the foil, the sail becomes really nice and neutral and gives you maximum forward speed and not so much sideways pressure on the foil, which gives you a really nice stable flight. For the downhole tension, or how the leech opens, we are going to look at opening the leech quite nicely above the boom. And then it's going to tighten up all the way to the top. The reason why we are tightening it up all the way to the top is so that the sail bends relatively easily. And when the sail bends, it takes all the profile that you need. Especially for the foiling, there's always a transition from not being on the foil to being on the foil. And to get onto the foil, you need a little bit of power to get you up on it. So having a sail that bends relatively easily gives a really nice deep draft in the bottom of the sail, brings you up onto the foil. And then once you're flying on the foil, the mid-leech right here, all this extra material is going to make the sail really nice and neutral and give you a really nice stable flight. For the outhole, we can set it up slightly differently than what we do on the free speed. This sail on the foil actually has a decent amount of outhole tension. So if you look at it from neutral, which is when you shake the sail around like this, you have about 25 to 30 millimeters of outhole. This makes the sail relatively flat in the back, which is ideal for foiling in the medium to upper end. If you feel like you're struggling to get onto the foil, you can play with the downhole, but you can also very easily just let off a little bit of outhole, create a little bit of a deeper profile here, bring you up on the foil a little bit easier. Once you want to use the sail on the fin, so once you're out of the wind range on the foil and you want to continue sailing, you can replace the foil for the fin or take a fin board and start riding this sail on the fin. I would recommend reducing the outhole a little bit to try and get a little bit more profile in the bottom area, which is going to give you a little bit more drive on the fin. Because the sail is designed for the foil, it's quite open right above the boom, so it doesn't give a lot of positive fin pressure, so you really need to get some wind and you really need to play a little bit with your outhole to get the right trim, to get the board onto the fin and accelerating nicely. However, once it does, this sail is actually quite quick and super easy to use, especially in the higher end on the high wind on the fin. So it really has two modes. For the batten tension, we have a super standard setup on this one. We simply put medium to maximum tension on the bottom two battens. This batten, you got to be a little bit careful not to over tension it, so the batten above the boom. We have 4-5 and 5-5 with 5 battens, 6-5 and 7-5 with 6 battens. So I say the batten above the boom, it's always the same one. Don't put too much tension here, especially on the foil, because it will create a little bit of backhand pressure and it might overpower you on the foil a little bit. However, when you use the sail on the fin, you can add a little bit of tension here, tighten the leech up a little bit and get a little bit more fin pressure. And then for the battens above this, simply medium to minimum to medium tension, apart from the top batten, where you can actually add a little bit of tension in case the top panel is slightly open to control that top panel and get a really nice side bending in the sail to make sure that you have all the performance you need. On the 4-5 and the 5-5, you can use an RDM mast, which makes the sail bend a little bit easier, makes the sail a little bit more playful. Sets up a little bit differently. You might want to add a little bit more downhole tension on the RDM mast than you do on the MDM mast. Then on the 5-5, 6-5 and 7-5, if you want to go for maximum performance, use the MDM mast. It's going to give you a little bit more response. It's going to give you a little bit more draft. It's going to give you a little bit more stability. So you can choose the mast that suits you or a mast that maybe you already have if you don't want to make the investment for a new mast. These sails are really nice. They set up really well on both masts. However, there is an ideal. So for 7-5, 6-5 and 5-5, for maximum performance, I recommend the MDM mast. If you want to make the 5-5 and the 4-5 a little bit more playful, you can feel free to use the RDM mast in there. I highly recommend a North mast, as the curve fits the curve of the sail perfectly. and you'll have all the benefit of the design features that we put into the sail.